Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another intense battle in Rome 2 Total War. This is a 1v1 subscribers battle replay submitted by James the Great, so thank you very much for submitting it. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's take a look at these army comps. The first army we have on the battlefield today is Pontus, or the Kingdom of Pontus, commanded by James the Great. And for those of you who don't know who James the Great is, him and Max Laser were pretty much responsible for a lot of my early channel growth by supplying me with quite a few good Total War Attila replays. So very thankful to them for all of the help in getting my channel off the ground. But James the Great, we haven't heard from him in quite some time. He has been very busy with work, but I was very happy to see that he approached me the other day with another replay, because I know if he's sending it to me, it's going to be epic. So let's go ahead and see what he has brought to the battlefield. The rules were max 6 of one kind of unit, so I guess that stops from spamming one particular unit, and no artillery. So with that in mind, right in the front lines, he has 4 units of the mercenary Scythian horse archers, so I'm assuming he's going to try and get some early harass off with these guys. Very quick light missile cavalry, so they should be able to pick apart the enemy and then get out of there before they become engaged in melee. So very useful units early on in the battle. And he has 6 units of the pikemen, pretty standard pikemen for Pontus, but at least they do have the ability to field some pikes. Then he has some spears. He has 3 units of hoplites on either flank, totaling 6. And for his main heavy melee infantry, he has 6 units of the Pontic swordsmen. For his archers, he's brought 6 units of the Eastern archers, and these guys are pretty similar, I would say, to the Parthian archers as far as ability and their equipment goes. You can see not much armor on them, but pretty good archers nonetheless. And then he has a ton of cavalry in this army. He has 2 units of the scythe chariots, and then the general totals 3. And he also has 6 units of the Pontic royal cavalry. So very heavy shock cavalry. They should be able to just shred the enemy in the charge. And then he's also brought a couple units of the noble blood cavalry, 3 units of them. And that rounds out the Pontic force. So let's go ahead and take a look at Pontus's enemy. The army that will be challenging Pontus on this battlefield is Rome, commanded by Olympian deity, and he has definitely played to Rome's strengths by bringing a lot of heavy infantry, but he did bring some cavalry to the battlefield, which is good, considering James the Great has quite a few cavalry units. So he's brought a bunch of the heavy melee cavalry, the Praetorian cavalry, which is, I believe, their best cavalry unit, but they still will be quite outnumbered compared to James the Great's Pontic cavalry, so we'll see how they do perform in the battle. He has brought a few units of the auxiliary infantry, though, 2 units on either side, so I'm thinking maybe he might use these to kind of level the playing field as far as the cavalry is concerned, charging in the Praetorian cavalry and then following it up with the spears to hopefully tear down the Pontic cavalry. But again, we'll see what happens in the actual battle. He's brought 6 ranged units. He has 3 units of the auxiliary Balearic slingers, and then he has 3 units of the auxiliary Syrian archers, and I think he didn't bring any velites to this battlefield, because although armor-piercing damage is really important, I think in this scenario, he is going to find range much more valuable than the armor-piercing damage of the velites, and he will be able to use these archers and slingers to good effect in warding off those Scythian horse archers, protecting his flanks by firing back at the Scythian horse archers as they close in, whereas the velites wouldn't even be in range to provide effective cover. But he does have 6 units of his Hastati here, which is the solid mainline early period infantry that Rome would have fielded. He also has his general and bodyguard here. And then we start to get into the bread and butter of the Roman army. We've got 6 units of armored legionaries, 6 units of Eagle cohort, and finally at the back we have 6 units of Praetorian Guard. And that rounds out Olympian deity's force, so let's finally get to this battle. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and as you can see we have the 4 units of Scythian horse archers moving to the Roman left flank, and I think that James the Great is going to try and focus down the Praetorian cavalry first, which is an excellent option, because if he can get rid of the Praetorian cavalry, the Roman army will pretty much be immobile. And the 4 units of Praetorian cavalry that Olympian deity has brought is going to be crucial in winning this battle for him. Now, if you look at the balance of power, The Romans definitely seem to have this, but their heavy infantry is second to none. But that being said, even Praetorian Guard will break under multiple charges in the back from heavy shock cavalry, so he's going to need this Praetorian cavalry to be able to defend his flanks and also to ward off the enemy cavalry or maybe keep James the Great from charging in as often. However, if all 4 of these Scythian horse archers can eliminate the Praetorian cavalry early on, then it will be very bad news for Olympian Deity, so we'll see exactly what he does here. You can see that these volleys aren't doing much initial damage, but as soon as the hit points kind of go down for the Praetorian cavalry, they will start to lose quite a few more men. And you can see that he is trying to pursue the cavalry, or sorry, the horse archer cavalry, but there's just no way he's going to be able to catch them. Yeah, you can see that they are going to start dropping in numbers very soon. Luckily, he is bringing forward some of the auxiliary Syrian archers, which is a solid shout, because the Syrian archers can range the missile cavalry, but just look at this, James the Great pulling back just in time, and actually that whole volley missed the unit of Scythian horse archers, so well done there. I wish that he would actually pull the Praetorian cavalry back into the middle of his ranks and sacrifice some of the cheaper infantry here, like the auxiliary infantry. Maybe just see if he can bait James the Great to fire down onto the cheaper spears instead of onto his very expensive cavalry. Check this out, they've got 34, now they're trying to retreat because they know they won't catch them, and down to 27 with just that volley. Very, very disgusting. And this whole unit here is going to be completely wiped out. Wow. Down to 12 men, and it looks like they are retreating, but with this unit retreating, that just means that the rest of the Praetorian cavalry is now going to be able to be focused down. The auxiliary Syrian archers are making it much more difficult for him to range the cavalry, though, which is good to see. And he's also using his auxiliary infantry to protect the archers from being charged, because if he only brought the auxiliary Syrian archers up here alone, James the Great might be able to get a couple charges off on the archers and then break them. But we do have some of the Roman heavy infantry getting ready to move forwards, and look at this, Olympian Deity putting all 6 of his Hastati units into mobile testudo. Very, very good option. These are very cheap units. They're 300 denarii, so they're good throwaway units early on to just get the initial engagement, force the enemy player to pull his archers back, and then follow in with your more heavy or elite infantry without just being fired upon the entire way. However, I think these Hastati won't even take much damage while they're in mobile testudo, even from the Eastern archers. I mean, they're pretty solid. They've got 35 missile damage and 150 range, so after a couple of volleys, you might see them start to deplete their numbers just a little bit. But again, they're 300 denarii. I would much rather see Olympian Deity throw away these cheaper Hastati units than his Praetorian Guard units, which I believe are something like 1,200 denarii. They're very expensive. So it's good to see that he is keeping them in reserve. I'm just still very worried about the Scythian horse archers. If they came around the flank and started harassing the Praetorian Guard, there's not much in the way of cavalry that could drive them off. So James the Great has a lot of opportunities here. We do have the armored legionaries moving up as well, so I did see that his Hastati were kind of way out in the open and not defended, so that made me a little concerned, because James the Great, again, has a lot of cavalry, and if he can eliminate all 6 of these units with a couple of cavalry charges, and know that there is no Romans able to back them up, then that will be a huge blow to the Romans. But Olympian Deity is playing a very good game so far, I think. He has them out in front, but not too much that they can't be supported by the Balearic Slingers and the Armored Legionaries. Let's see how we're doing here. Praetorian Cavalry, unfortunately, still being ranged by the Scythian Horse Archers. This unit is pretty much out of the game. 9 men remaining. They still could do a little bit of damage, but not that much. This unit is way out of position. It should not be this far away from the main Roman lines. It does have 60 out of 60 still in the unit, but as I said, as those hit points start to deplete, and especially if the Scythian Horse Archers can fire into their backs, the Praetorian Cavalry will get depleted quite quickly. But I did see some losses here for James the Great, so the Scythian Horse Archers being shot at by the auxiliary Syrian Archers. However, a lot of volleys being wasted here. I'm sure Olympian Deity is a little frustrated with how quick these horse archers can get in and strike and then get out of range. But here we go, he is looking to protect his cavalry by pulling them in next to his Balearic slingers and in reinforcement range of his armored legionaries, which is very good to see. Very, very good indeed. So we do have a little bit more harass from James the Great, but I don't think anything else happens until the actual engagement in the battle. So I'm going to make a little bit of a cut here, and we'll bring it back once the Hastades have engaged the lines in melee. Alright guys, welcome back to the battlefield, and the mainline battle should begin very shortly. James the Great is moving a lot of his cavalry and his archers to the flanks to pressure the Romans as they move in to challenge his pike wall. And he's got all 6 of his eastern archers here on the left-hand side because he saw that Olympian Deity here has moved what is left of his cavalry all to the left-hand, or his right-hand side, but James's left-hand side. So to avoid confusion, I'm just going to always refer to it from James the Great's point of view, so left-hand side, or left flank, and then the right flank. But on the left-hand flank here, you can see we have 3 units of the Noble Blood Cavalry here, and 6 units of the Eastern Archers. They will be challenging 2 units of Auxiliary Infantry and 3.5 units of Praetorian Cavalry. Now, the Praetorian Cavalry, I believe, will be able to best the Noble Blood Cavalry with the support of the Auxiliary Infantry, but it depends on how many volleys these Eastern Archers are able to get on the cavalry during the cavalry engagement. On the right-hand side, we do have the 6 units of the Pontic Royal Cavalry. I think they are just waiting, licking their lips for the Hastati to actually engage the main line. We only have 3 units coming forwards here on the main line, and then the Royal Cavalry will probably charge them in the back. But here we go, we do have the first engagement here with the Noble Blood Cavalry charging the flank of the Praetorian Cavalry. Have a counter charge from another unit of Praetorian Cavalry. We've quickly got the Auxiliary Infantry moving into melee as well to support the Roman Cavalry in that fight. But this is what I was talking about. We have the Eastern Archers firing down onto the backs of the Praetorian Cavalry. Olympian Deity does realize this, and he is quickly moving a unit to charge these Eastern Archers. Very well done there. Good charge into that unit. It should actually break that unit of archers, but unfortunately there is 5 more units that are focusing down the Praetorian Cavalry that is in melee. We've also got a counter charge from the Noble Blood Cavalry here. But Olympian Deity, he has 2 or 1.5 units here not doing anything. He needs to decide what he's going to do here. We've also got 2 units of Hoplites coming in here, and the Hoplites will definitely trump the Auxiliary Infantry there. And we've actually got the Cavalry on the right flank here, charging into the backs of the Hastati here. Well done by James the Great, eliminating 3 units of Hastati. I think that Olympian Deity made a little bit of a mistake by pushing them forwards because they are completely undefended. They have no support from the main Roman army. It doesn't look like he is going to be moving anytime soon. He's actually almost boxing up here because he is worried about the horse archers, the Scythian horse archers that are at the rear of the Roman lines. You can see the Praetorian Guard are actually facing to oppose them, which is very interesting indeed. There are still 3 units here that aren't really doing too much of the cavalry, I should say, for James the Great, but he's keeping 2 units of auxiliary Syrian archers out of the mainline fight. So pretty good engagement for James the Great so far. However, a little careless with his archers here. He doesn't have enough cavalry to defend the archers. You can see that the Praetorian Cavalry did get some really solid charges on the archers. And 2 of them are pretty banged up. 1 of them is actually breaking, and he has 4 remaining. We do have some Hoplites here as well, but look at this! Oh my goodness! All of them being slaughtered at close range by the archers, and this guy, I'm not sure if he's going to continue to fight or just retreat. And there we go. Huge cheers as one of the Praetorian Cavalry units is wiped off of the battlefield. And we've got a fight over here between the Praetorian Cavalry and some pretty banged up Noble Blood Cavalry. However, I think that James the Great will be able to win the left-hand flank as well. As I said, the Auxiliary Infantry are not going to do well against the Hoplites. the hoplites are much, much better spearmen. You can see, if we zoom into the actual battle map, or the actual battle line, that the auxiliary infantry are getting cut down by the hoplites, with the help of the noble blood cavalry, of course. Let's zoom out and make sure we're not missing anything else on the battlefield so far, though. Yes, we do have some of the noble blood cavalry. I think they will maybe try to scare off the auxiliary Balearic slingers that are firing into their backs, but there's a huge opening here in the lines of the Romans. Their whole left flank is completely exposed. Now we have some more commitment to the front lines here. We've got the 3 remaining units of Hastati, with, looks like 1 did return from routing. They are now moving forwards, and we have a lot of the armored legionaries in a mobile testudo pushing forwards as well. He needs to support his Hastati, though. He can't just leave these armored legionaries back and charge in another 3 units of Hastati. They're just going to get wrecked by cavalry charges. But yeah, now we've got the Scythian horse archers over here to clean up the remaining Praetorian cavalry units. Olympian Deity could have used this cavalry unit to great effect, but unfortunately it's just being slaughtered. He's probably microing in other areas of the battlefield. And here we go, huge charge into the back of the auxiliary infantry, sees them gone from the battlefield. Well done there. So he has, James the Great has won both of his flanks so far, which is good to see. But as you can see from the balance of power, the Romans still have this in the bag. I'm interested to see what Olympian Deity does now. He needs to kind of tighten his formation. You can see that he's filtering in units to the front lines, but he's not actually supporting it with the entirety of his force. And there are much more heavy infantry units for Rome than there are for Pontus, but if he keeps filtering them in like this 3 at a time, 5 at a time, the Pontic infantry is going to be more numerous than the Roman infantry. Oh, and here we go. This is going to be a pretty good charge. Volleys from either side. Actually, you did see the banner carrier fall there to a pila throw from the Pontic swordsman. We've also got some more going through here as well. Very epic throws of the pila before the Pontic swordsmen charge in to engage the Hastati in melee. Very good indeed. The armored legionaries, again, not supporting their comrades in melee, and you can see that James the Great is supporting his swordsmen with some pikemen. We do have the bronze shield pikemen pushing forwards to make sure that the Hastati are slaughtered very quickly. But the legionaries are kind of just sitting here. They're not really doing too much, and I think that's a big mistake for Olympian Deity here. Look at this unit right here. It could actually side charge the Pontic swordsman, but he doesn't seem to be doing that. We've also got the cavalry coming in over here, and now the auxiliary Balearic slingers are going to get a taste of their own medicine as the Pontic cavalry just run them down. And this unit of legionaries is now completely exposed. It's going to need some support. We do have the legionaries, or sorry, that's actually Eagle cohorts. So we do have the Eagle cohort charging the cavalry, and it looks like we do have another unit of Eagle cohorts sandwiching them in. But as you guys saw, those Eastern archers just volleying the backs of that Eagle cohort unit. They're already down under 100 men. That is pretty disgusting. Okay, now we do have the armored legionaries flanking around the bronze shield pikemen, so that's a really good play for Olympian Deity. The Hastati, as you can see, are breaking, though, which isn't a surprise. They're not going to hold their own against the better swordsmen of Pontus, plus the bronze shield pikemen. You can see that they are retreating from the battlefield. Let's go ahead and see what's going on the other flank, because I haven't actually taken a look at this. It's been a quieter flank on the right-hand flank after those charges, but we do have some hoplites pushing maybe a little bit too far here. This unit of hoplites going after the armored legionaries, but a side charge from these armored legionaries will mean that the hoplites become completely surrounded, so that is really not good. However, James the Great following it up with 2 units of bronze shield pikemen, so hopefully they will be able to catch those armored legionaries and hold them in melee. We've also got a unit of auxiliary infantry over here, which is being surrounded, which is very good to see. We've also got the Pontic Royal Cavalry on the right-hand flank charging into the auxiliary infantry. Not ideal, considering they are spearmen, and also being volleyed by the auxiliary Syrian archers and auxiliary Balearic slingers as they do try and retreat. But I think James the Great will just try and cycle charge those units just to keep the pandemonium in the Roman lines real. I think Olympian Deity is really struggling to keep his battle lines, and now we do have the activation of the Scythe Chariots running down the Praetorian Guard. You can see, look how much damage they've taken. They've got 0 kills, and they've already lost 20 men in their unit. That is really rough for Praetorian Guard. Also over here, some cheeky volleys from the Scythian horse archers onto the general and bodyguard. Tisk, tisk. But I guess all's fair in love and war, but especially war. And yeah, unfortunately, these pikemen are actually being hit from behind, but then the armored legionaries are being hit from behind by the hoplites. And I'm looking for a really juicy target. See, he's got to be careful charging his scythe chariots through his own men. I don't think they do much damage to your unit, but they definitely disrupt their formations. Here we go, here we go. This is going to be good. I want to see this. Oh, good volleys on the chariots there. That was insane. And that's his general. Yeah, wow. So general actually down to 4 chariots out of 9. That is a pretty big disaster for James the Great. He does not want to lose his general that early. We have some hoplites over here that have shattered, and his general has shattered as well. It didn't die, which is good. His general is still alive, but now you can see the morale starting to drop for the Pontic hoplites, especially being hit in the flank by the Praetorian Guard. Wow. So again, still a very close battle here, and a very hectic battle. Not sure, oh, they're going to charge into the backs of the pikemen. Yeah, that's not ideal, but I think they're going for something else. Look at the chariots, though, that have just been wrecked by that Pila throw. There we go, running down the Balearic slingers, causing pandemonium behind enemy lines here. Not sure if maybe he's going to charge into this fresh unit of Praetorian Guard. It's actually facing the wrong way as well. No, he looks like he's gonna just clip the edge there. But again, volleys from the Pila, just slaughtering the scythe chariots. Wow. And another volley finishing them off completely. Well done to Olympian Deity. That is insane. We have more Praetorian Guard coming in over here on the flank. James the Great is withdrawing his Pontic Royal Cavalry out of that engagement. And I think that the pikemen are doing quite well over here against the Praetorian Cavalry. We've also got another unit of Bronze Shield pikemen moving in to close the gap. And in the center, it looks like James the Great is winning. Now, the balance of power just slightly ever in favor of James the Great. Looks like we have some Praetorian Guard trying to charge into these Eastern archers to silence them, but they took a lot of damage. Let's actually just see a couple of the kill animations on these lightly armored archers. Oh my goodness, the Gladius just ripping apart the Eastern archers, and actually some friendly volleys there by the Eastern archers and probably the Scythian horse archers into their own unit, hoping to just kill the Praetorians along with the Eastern archers. Cutting his throat and then just letting him drop. So actually, that Praetorian unit might break that unit of Eastern archers, which would be pretty good for Olympian Deity, but it's just pockets of fighting absolutely everywhere. Oh, and we do have the general and bodyguard over here facing the mercenary Scythian horse archers. I'm not sure who's going to break first, though. Oh, looks like the Scythian horse archers breaking, but then a couple more volleys down onto the general. He did get his rally ability just before. Oh no, he is steadying, but again, man, volleying, but good charge into the back of the Pontic Royal Swordsman here. And they actually have, like, ram's helmets. That's pretty sweet. That's really cool. But I don't want to zoom in on any one battle just yet. Here we go. Perfect opportunity to charge the Praetorian Cavalry in the back with the Royal Pontic Cavalry, causing some real trouble for the Praetorian Guard as they tried to form up to fight the Bronze Shield pikemen. Over here, it's the same story. Looks like they are being pressured from one side by some hoplites and on the other side by the Pontic swordsmen. And these pikemen are actually facing the wrong direction, which is kind of bizarre. We do have another unit of pikemen here that will close the gap, and this is going to be a pretty good charge. Very heavy shock cavalry slamming into the backs of the Praetorians. Well done indeed. And I think that James the Great will be able to wrap up this battle, but it is still very close. You can see actually the balance of power has dropped to dead even. And these Praetorians, they are a very tough unit to crack. Even that charge from the Pontic Royal Cavalry, and the Praetorians still hold strong. They're fighting pikemen on the flanks, and they just will not give up. We've got a unit here of Eagle Cohort. I'm not sure why he isn't charging that unit down, but he's microwing, as you can see, his Scythian Horse Archers to try and focus the Armored Legionaries. He's actually going in for the charge, too, against the Praetorians, and still a very effective charge by the lightly armored mercenary Scythian Horse Archers. They won't last long in melee, though, so he has to cycle them in and out. Otherwise, they're going to get cut down quite easily. But again, another charge from the Pontic Royal Cavalry here. And surely that will have broken this unit of Armored Legionaries. Oh no, it's Praetorian Guard over here. So I guess this is just a depleted unit that isn't involved in the fight just yet. But look at this last stand from the Praetorians here. Completely surrounded on all sides, and they are just holding strong. Pikemen pushing in even further at this point. And now the Praetorians are starting to be slaughtered. They know that there's no escape from this trap, so they basically just have to fight to the death. Pontic Royal Cavalry pushing in. I'm not sure if that has broken them. Yes, they have just shattered. And we've got the Eagle Cohort over here that has shattered, so it's pretty much just down to this little pocket here. And the Hoplites, oh sorry, this is Pontic Royal Cavalry. They're going to pull out, and I'm not sure if the Praetorian Guard are actually going to be able to reform here. Yes, it looks like they are going to each reform their forces and then do kind of a final charge. Only 1 minute 15 left in the battle. And what does James the Great have left? He has a unit of Hoplites here, and 3 units of bronze shield pikemen, but the cavalry, he has 4 units of the Pontic Royal Cavalry still remaining, and from the very beginning of the battle, he also has 2 units of the mercenary Scythian Horse Archers. I believe, though, that they have used up all their ammunition at this point. We also have a couple of depleted units here. I'm not sure if James the Great is aware of those, or if he's just leaving them there. He feels he doesn't need them to win the battle. Balance power definitely in his favor at this point, and we're just going to see the last stand of these Romans. There's, let's see how many, if we can count them. Yeah, so it's like 50, 100, basically 150 men, and I think this might actually be it here. Getting a Pila volley on the Pontic Royal Cavalry, but doesn't stop their numbers, and they just charge straight through, slamming into the Romans and completely surrounding them. And that should be the end of the battle there, I'm assuming. And yep, they've started to shatter. There we go. And a costly victory for the Pontic forces. Let's go ahead and take a look at the end results here. So, James the Great fielding only 3,500, Olympian deity having 4,200, so fielding quite a high amount of men more than James the Great. However, James the Great, again, bringing a lot of the cavalry units, which could amount for his low deployment numbers there. Well, let's see. So the Scythian Horse Archers doing excellent. These are kills that were harassment kills, so that is really solid there. His Pontic Royal Cavalry doing really well. The Noble Blood Cavalry, they went toe-to-toe with the Praetorians, and I think that the Praetorians got the better end of the deal there. But we do have the Scythe Chariots. They still managed to get a decent amount of kills, even though they were shot down by the Praetorian Pila. Archers doing pretty well, and the Bronze Shield Pikemen doing well. Pretty much everything doing pretty solidly. Pontic Swordsmen, almost all of them getting over 100 kills. Looking at the Roman side, the cavalry just not performing as well as it should have, but again, it was just so outnumbered, and it was being harassed the entire battle by those horse archers. He did really well with his ranged units, though. His armored legionaries, some solid, some not. The auxiliary infantry didn't really help at all, unfortunately, and the Hastati kind of got picked apart in sets of threes. So they didn't get as many kills as they should have. Praetorians, they held as best as they could, but even this is still pretty low for Praetorian units. But that is everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's battle. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.